Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm here at Indian Wells Tennis Garden with five-time Grand Slam champion Coach Rick Leach. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I actually have 9, if you want to count the mixed.
Oh, 9. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sounds a little better.
That's embarrassing. I looked on your Wikipedia page and it said 5, but I think I was just looking at the men's section.
That's men's doubles, yeah.
Okay.
4 and mixed.
Well, we'll talk mixed as well here in a second. So how's the season going so far? You're coaching the Breakers.
You know, I think it's going pretty well. We're 4-2. We're tied for second now. Mm-hmm. It's still early. We get Desiree on Monday. She's came from the World Doubles Championships. So,
right.
But we lose Amanda. So Amanda's been incredible.
Yeah. She's been balling.
I know. She's leading the league. She hasn't lost a set in singles. And for some reason, I don't know why she's not in the top 10, but I think next year she'll have a great year.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been playing really well. So, a couple questions. Well, to start, what have you seen change over the years in doubles as far as like when you were on tour versus what you're seeing today?
Yeah, you know, I was on the tour for a long time, 87 to 05. And in my day, if somebody served and stayed back, I thought for sure I'd win.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think the game's changed where now guys can serve and have a huge first serve and a huge forehand and win. You know, you look at a guy like Jack Sock, you know, who's one of the best doubles players in the world. And, you know, with the change of the string, I think, you know, guys can take full swings and keep the ball on the court. You know, I remember in 05 when I retired, Luxalon came out. And Agassi said, he goes, if he called it Lux to cheat. He said if one person uses it, everybody has to use it because it changed the game. You know, I mean, all of a sudden you can take, like I said, full swings, get more spin, and really make the ball bend. And I actually saw it in 04. I played Nadal down here in the desert. He and Tommy Robredo in doubles, and I'm looking at the ball and it's like a different shape. You know, it just had a different spin velocity and it was heavy. I mean, I still felt like I could not miss many volleys because that was my strength, but you know, he was a baller. I could tell right away, and he was young.
Yeah. It turned out he was pretty good at
he's pretty good
at tennis.
Exactly.
So back to World Team Tennis. How does, I guess actually this doesn't even make sense. I was going to ask about your lineup strategy, but you're kind of limited by your roster, huh?
You're limited, but there is a lot of strategy to it.
Okay.
You know, the home team gets to pick.
Okay.
And for example, you know, last night we had Amanda finish the match, and I set the lineup. And the reason why I did that is the women seem to be able to break serve a little bit easier than the guys. And if we needed to come back, you wanted that your most likely win at the end of the match. So I put Amanda. You know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out last. And of course, she won, you know, and in team tennis with extended play, you can make up some ground. You know, 2 nights ago when we played Springfield, she won 5-love against Katie McNally. I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
And then Katie was able to win a game. We were still two games back.
Right.
And Amanda was so sweet. She texted me and she said, "I'm sorry I let you down. I let the team down. I'll do better." But come on, she won 5 straight games.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's too much pressure.
Yeah. So it's important, you know. You try to maybe put your events you're not doing as well maybe at the start, and then the better events towards the end, and then it helps 1-3-5 because you serve first. So you know, one service break could be 5-2,
right?
And 5-2 margin is huge in team tennis. You know, that 3-game margin. So you know, every game counts.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of strategy, and it changes every day.
Yeah.
In fact, I have to make my lineup for tomorrow, and I haven't even done it yet. So I gotta put my thinking cap on.
Okay. So why, this could be just because of the limited roster, but why don't I see a lot of subs? Is that a rule change or it's still allowed, right?
It sure is. I think because there's single specialists and double specialists here.
Yeah.
If you had, say, 2 singles players, then you might see somebody come in, you know, or if you had somebody that had a huge serve, you might bring them in to serve out a match or something like that. And it adds a lot for the fans, you know, and I think it's fun to see. But it's not great for team morale. You know, you take out somebody and then they're feeling like, hey, I'm not playing well, and they lose their confidence and stuff. So I haven't seen any substitutions, believe it or not, this whole week. But in the past, I've seen a lot, you know, with team tennis. So it's a nice rule that you can do that. And, if somebody's not playing well, you can bring him in. If somebody was to get hurt, they could play singles or whatever. So it's a nice little variable.
Yeah. The one that makes the one that makes the most sense to me is the serve that you just talked about. So if I had like Isner or even like Fritz on my team, right?
Yes.
It's like we're up 4-3 serving. We need to close it out. Fritz, you're in, or Isner, you're in.
Exactly. We were supposed to have John on our team, and I was thinking about that before. He might have not been in the mixed doubles lineup, but if we're serving for the match, who other than John Isner serving out the match?
Right.
So, and the same thing. If you have a really good returner, like maybe maybe bring Amanda in to return. I mean, her return is incredible.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's something to think about, and it's good for the fans. I mean, I also like playing the lets. I mean, it's so much fun. And in team tennis, you don't have to be the returner to return a let. In doubles, the person on the not returning can go across and take it.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen to me, too, where a guy came across and just tagged me because you're so close.
I remember seeing that last year. I don't think I've seen it this year.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, a lot of it depends on how the net is, if it's softer or whatever, and it doesn't take a huge, bounce.
Yeah. But it's weird the first time you see that.
It is, and it's weird that playing lets. I mean, you got to get used to it.
Yeah, you definitely do.
You get used to it, and it's no problem. For the college guys, they did it in college anyway. So, like Austin played at A&M, and if you played college tennis, it's easy. Stevie played at SC, so
right.
Yeah.
So, how much coaching are you actually doing out there, like on the court?
That's a good question. Not a lot. Obviously these are seasoned professionals. They know how to play the game. Mm-hmm. I will offer some advice sometimes, where to serve, what stroke to hit to, what side. Mm-hmm. I think more importantly is when I call my timeouts. I mean, yesterday I think I was really good at it. Every time I called the timeout, we won the point. Yeah. And so, you look at momentum swings, you look at how a player's feeling, and sometimes you just got to slow them up, and they might not like it, but it helps them, So I'm probably more of a supporter and somebody gives encouragement rather than a coach, because it's so fast.
Right.
But we changed some tactics today in the women's doubles, and we talk about. I mean, you're always trying to get better. I mean, as a former tennis pro and now as a coach, I mean, every time you step on the court, you try to get a little better. And I think the really good pros will ask me and you say, hey, what can I do better? Why did I miss that shot? Or
sure.
That technique might be off a little bit on something, a volley or their footwork or something. And I've been around the game for 51 years, so usually I know what's going on.
What was the tactical change in the women's doubles? Do you mind sharing?
No, we decided to stay back, returning, because Amanda's not a huge fan of reflex volleys and closing the net. So Tatiana sometimes struggles with some returns if there's good servers. I mean, you got Coco Vandeweghe and Caroline Dolheit serving bombs. So This took a little pressure off her, and they lost 5-3, but winning 3 games was huge. Mm-hmm. It kept the match really close. I mean, yesterday when they lost 5-love and we still won, that doesn't happen very often.
Right.
So, every game counts, and small little tactical things can help.
Sure, absolutely. So what else are you doing now outside of World Team Tennis? Are you still coaching some players?
Yeah, I teach at the Newport Beach Tennis Club. I've been there on and off since 2006. I do a lot of pro-ams, charity events, play a couple senior tournaments here and there, and just involved with the game. It's a sport that has been so good to me, and I've been so blessed to play 18 years on tour and win Grand Slams, win Davis Cups, and I'm very thankful that I had a father that played. My father, who's in the hospital right now, I'm thinking of him. He was my inspiration. So, he was the coach at USC for 22 years, taught me how to play, and he really taught me a passion for the game. He wasn't like one of those parents that pressured me, and made me hate it. So that's why I'm still involved, and I think that I've been involved with team tennis over 20 years, 10 as a player and 10 as a coach.
Yeah.
So I love the format. I just hope it keeps going. We don't have huge fan attendance yet here, and a lot of it probably has to do with the vax rule for kids, and to me, the team tennis is all about kids because, they can come on the court after and get all the players' autographs and meet the players. And I remember as a kid growing up in Southern California, I went to LA Strings matches. Mm-hmm. Got to see Jimmy Connors play, Chris Evert, Ely Nastasi, John Lloyd. He played doubles with Connors. And then one year in Anaheim, we had the Anaheim Oranges, and we had the Armitage brothers playing. And as a kid, you get so much behind your team. You want your home team to win, and you really get an association with the players. You get to meet them, and that's what the sport's about, is inspiring young kids to play. And I think it's great for kids to watch too, because you see men and women playing together and competing together and on the same team. So it teaches you good life lessons, and I love team tennis.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch too.
Definitely.
So do you like this 2-week format that they've done the last few years? Do you feel like that should stick around?
I think so. It makes sense because the player's schedule is so busy now. There's not a lot of free weeks.
Right.
And so I've heard talk next year they might even condense it down to maybe 10 days, starting on Friday and go, the next week.
Following Sunday or something.
Because, you want the top players to play, and you don't want it to be a hassle for them, and you don't want them to miss out on ranking points. So, I'm all for it. I think there's a good chance we can have it here next year.
Yeah.
And I think it will be the 2-week or 10-day format.
Yeah.
It's tough in the summertime when it was historically played. It would be tough on the guys because they would miss some big tournaments. It was easier on the girls; they wouldn't miss the bigger tournaments. But you want to get ranking points, and you're not getting ranking points. But the benefit of team tennis is, it's fun, and you get a guaranteed salary, and you get some great coaching. There's obviously every coach in this league is a great coach. So I think you get great coaching, and it's fun. It's like I was talking to Amanda earlier. She wishes she could play a tournament next week because she's seeing the ball like a grapefruit now.
Yeah.
The girl's playing incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why aren't you in the top 20? This is mind-boggling. And she said, she goes, I get a little bored in practice. It's very monotonous, and I just had a bad year last year. So, this maybe will jumpstart her career. If you look at last year's team tennis season at the Greenbrier, we had Jenny Brady on our team.
Yep.
Jenny Brady, after team tennis, went on a huge roll. She won Lexington, semifinals U.S. Open, and she was a different player. So I'm not saying it was because of me. I'm just saying she got that competition where every point's so important in the no-ad scoring. You get big-eyed, and you get really, really sharp. And you cut out the errors, and you play smarter, and you try the right shots. And Jenny's a great example, and it was great to coach her because she was so awesome.
Huh, that's interesting.
Finals of the Australian.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She had a great little run there. That's an interesting theory. So with the team tennis, you've got because every game matters. You're down. If you're down, I guess in these formats, it's like you're down 4-1, but you're still fighting, right?
Oh,
Whereas
big time.
Normal tennis, you're down to set 5-1 or down 5-1 in a set. It's like, okay, I'll figure out the next one,
Yeah, or you might conserve your energy or something like that. But, every game is so important. And if you're a fan out here, the first match of the day came down to a sudden death tiebreaker. Yeah. And every match is so close. I think there's so much parity in the league. Every team is so even that it makes it fun to watch. The last match, Stevie and Darian King go out there and it's tied.
Right.
So there wasn't going to be any overtime, but whoever won the set was going to win the match. Yeah. So thankfully Steve won for us.
So before we get into a little doubles strategy, explain Steve Johnson to me.
Well, Stevie's really the ultimate team guy.
He's hilarious out there.
Arguably one of the best college players ever.
Yeah.
He had that 72 match winning streak, or 73, I can't remember, but Stevie's fun. I think he's great for the crowd.
He is.
I think he's at the point of his career where he's got his priorities straight. He just, he's got a family now, and he actually mentioned before the last game. He said that his wife and baby is going to be down here, so he wasn't. He needed to take care of business quickly. Yeah. And he's had his dog down here, and he's just a great guy. He like me, his dad was a huge influence on him, and a great coach. And Stevie's just a class guy.
Yeah, it seems like from the outside looking in, it seems like he's got a good perspective. Like he's not taking it quite too seriously, and really appreciates the moments out here.
I think so at this stage of his career. But
sure.
Don't get me wrong, he still wants to win.
Yeah, no, he fights hard out there.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. I talked to some fans after the match, and they all had a great time. And we've had a tough run here with the pandemic, so it's nice to just smile and enjoy sports and enjoy watching it live.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a couple questions on double strategy. So we've got deciding points here. Let's say your team's serving. I noticed you typically would step in and maybe give them a serve spot or something like that. How do you think about the serve strategy on a deciding point?
Yeah, I think normally you want to go with your strength, your best serve, or your opponent's weakness.
Okay. How do you juggle that? Like, which one's more important?
To me, the first serve is more important because, with today's game, I mean, everybody usually has a pretty big first serve, and they probably win a higher percentage when they get that in.
Yeah.
I just want to slow them down and make them take a deep breath and go with their best serve, and it's tough. It's a lot of pressure, and it always doesn't work. But I think at the end of the day, if you go with your best serve and you miss it, you can live with it, and I've been amazed at the way Amanda serves. I mean, her serve motion is so beautiful, and she can hit her spots, and I think that's really been helping her this season.
What about return strategy? How do you think about that?
Well, for me, I was taught to try to make every return. The game's changed some where guys just try to slap the return. I think in this format, it's important to get the return in. I mean, you don't want to go for too much. I don't care if it's a second serve and it's sitting up, you want to hit it, but I'm kind of a little bit old school where when I played doubles, I tried to make every single return.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an old school Australian mentality, but my strength was to show up and make a lot of balls, and then my partner was the put away guy, so I was more of a setup guy.
Yeah.
But it just kills me when it's a 3-all point and they miss the return. I mean, that just I feel like I'm getting stabbed when that happens. so to me, I mean, the return is important just to get it in play, maybe take a little off, and then anybody can win the point.
Yeah. It seems like in a normal scoring format, like sets to 6, 2 out of 3, or even 3 out of 5. You can just take big cuts, and eventually you'll have a game where you make 3 of them and you get a break point. Whereas this, it's like only 5 games, so
it's too fast.
You may go through a set and just never make 3 in a game. So that makes a lot of sense.
You're absolutely right. Every game is so important, and it goes so fast.
Yeah.
With the no ad scoring. Basically in the men's doubles, we lost the tiebreaker because of 2 shots. Austin missed a volley that he shouldn't have missed, and Stevie missed an overhead. We win those 2 points, we win the set. So I mean, that's such a fine line. But at the highest level, you're professional. You should make these shots.
Yeah. So how do you think about mixed strategy? This is one of the only mixed events of the year, along with the Grand Slams.
Well, there's it obviously depends who you're playing against. I mean, Austin's been great in the mixed. He plays very smart. He has a crafty lefty serve and moves well at net. I was a big fan of mixed playing. I always played in all the slams. I love playing mixed.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I think it's and people that watch, a lot of people play mixed because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And at the club level and a lot of the spectators here. So it's fun to watch. It's fun when a girl can go out there and hit an ace on the guy, or you look at Coco just thumping overhead. I mean, she can really hit the ball hard. And Coco plays more like men's doubles. I mean, she poaches, and same with Caroline Dolheit. I mean, they're a tough team.
Yeah.
And last night with Flipkins and Kim Kleisters, I mean, that's a tough team too.
Yeah.
So you're seeing some of the best doubles in the world here, and then you got Katie McNally and Asia Muhammad, and I mean, these are the best doubles players in the world. So we've been struggling a little bit in that front on our team, but I think it's going to change next week with Des.
Yeah, it definitely should help.
Yeah.
What's your favorite play in doubles from when you were playing? So, for example, mine is when the opponent serves and volleys, my partner hits a return down at their feet, I'm able to poach off the return. I love finishing a point like that. What's your favorite?
I think I have to agree with you on that. That's one of my favorite things. Like I just said, I was the guy that tried to make every return, and I was a deuce court guy and set my partner up. That is really fun, especially if you have a called poach, off the return.
Yeah.
For me, being left-handed, my favorite thing in the world is to hit a drop volley. And you don't hit many of them in tennis, and it's probably a stupid shot. But being left-handed, right-brained, I'm more creative. And those kind of shots, like an angle, either a dipper shot angle or a drop volley angle, it makes me come back and want to play the next day. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love that. In fact, my nickname in college was Spangle, which is short for spin angle. Because
that's good.
I have to be careful not to try that shot too often when I play. But if I can, hit a drop volley that kind of almost goes out the gate, it has so much backspin, that'll make my day.
Yeah.
But in doubles, I think another really a thing I like a lot is reflex volleys, and if I can reflex one off the tape, for some reason I get a huge kick out of that if I can a reflex volley off the tape. And when I was playing, I mean, obviously I got pretty good at doubles. I felt like I should never miss a volley, and I felt like if I did, it's my bad, and it shouldn't happen. Yeah. And I think I used to go through matches and maybe miss, one or two or three or whatever, and I'd think about it. So I was just blessed with good hands. I don't know why. And I grew up in the era with wood rackets. So, I didn't have the huge swings. I didn't have the huge topspin. I didn't have the severe grips. I was a Dunlop Max Play guy when I was younger.
That's good. So we're at 20 minutes. Do you have like 5 more?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So you were left-handed, or you are left-handed. How do you think about playing when you're playing with a righty? Forehands in the middle, forehands on the outside. Your preferred return side. How do you think about that?
The great thing about playing with the righty-lefty combination is you don't have to serve in the sun, and that's important because in a lot of places the sun can be really bad. If you look at the great teams in the past with lefty-righty combinations, like a McEnroe and Fleming, or a Newcomb and Roach, normally the lefty or the Woodies, normally the lefty's in the ad side. Yeah. I had to play the deuce side because my partners on the tour needed to play the ad side, first with Tim Posset, then Jim Pugh, who I had the most success with. We became number 1 in the world. And Jim really liked that backhand side. He had 2 hands. His backhand return cross court was money. And so I kind of adapted to the deuce side, and it was great for poaching because he also returned very well. So, that forehand in the middle is nice. Yeah. And, it's just a matter of meshing with your partner, and it doesn't matter if you're lefty or righty, but I would say that being left-handed kept me in the game for another year or two when I shouldn't have been, just because being left-handed, the slider serve out wide and the different spins.
This gives you a competitive advantage a little bit.
But I would say coaching, it's probably been a little bit of a disadvantage because the pros I've played, I can't serve to them because there's not that many lefties. They want righty serves,
Right.
So it's been a little bit of a disadvantage coaching at the highest level. I mean, I have coached players that have won Grand Slams, but at the same time, it's a disadvantage probably coaching.
Sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or teaching.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay, a few rapid fire questions, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
What is your favorite tournament?
I think to play in was Wimbledon, just because the prestige. I used to watch, breakfast at Wimbledon with Borg and McEnroe in the morning. Wake up early, and it's just sacred ground. I mean, every time I played that tournament, I would just feel like I was more nervous. I wanted to win more, and it was a dream come true to win the doubles and the mix there, just because I watched it growing up. I also enjoyed going to Australia because their summer people are so friendly. Had my most success there, 3 doubles and 2 mixed titles. So, I was a big fan of the Australian Open just because I felt so relaxed. It's the easiest of all the Grand Slams. Yeah. And but they all add something different. It's fun to play in New York because you're in the States. Yeah. Fun to play in France. You're in France. They're all amazing. And if I was a tennis fan, I'd go to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to Australia last year for the first time, and I think I liked it better than the U.S. Open.
Yep.
It's stay downtown, walk 15 minutes to the courts. It was so nice.
You have no problems getting tickets. Downtown Melbourne's great restaurants along the river, and had some great memories there. In 2000, when I won my last slam with Ellis Ferreira, we won 18-16 in the 5th, and we were staying in the South Yarra district, and we went to the same South African steakhouse 11 out of 14 nights, and it was just... you don't mess with the streak when you're playing well in a tournament, and had such a great time. The people down there are just so friendly, and they like Americans, which is nice.
Yeah. What is your favorite tennis book?
Good question. I'm a big collector of memorabilia. I like Bud Collins' Encyclopedia of Tennis. I like old books too. I like Budge on tennis, Don Budge.
Okay.
You know, in that book, he talks about a forehand chop. They don't have that stroke anymore. But the forehand chop was, on fast courts, basically like a slice that would tail away, and that stroke doesn't really. Well, Stevie hit a couple times.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really exist anymore. But I like to collect old tennis books. I've got tons of old tennis books. I have one on Suzanne Langland. I have a Ken Rosewall book that he signed. I have a Rod Laver book that he signed. I mean, anything that talks about tennis, I'm a big fan.
Very cool. What's your favorite non-tennis book?
Good question. I like Clive Cussler books. I think I have about 20 of those. Light reading, easy reading, and I don't know why. There's a little bit of truth in all the stories, and I just like any of his books.
Yeah. What is your favorite tennis story? It can be a personal story or...
I think my favorite story, I'll have to share it about my dad because I'm thinking about him, but in 1967, he's playing in the Newport, Rhode Island tournament, where the Hall of Fame is. Mm-hmm. And this was before the invention of the tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. And he's there with my mom, and my mom, the big event in those days was the player party. And so my mom went back to the hotel because they lost the first set 6-3. My dad and Dick Dell, who's a famous tennis name, his brother's Donald Dell. And so she went back to the hotel. He didn't come back until it got dark, and it got real late. And my mom was all mad at my dad, and my mom's like, "Were you drinking with the Australian guys again, or what's going on?" And my dad's like, "No, you won't believe what happened. It's 35 all, okay?" And it got dark. So like, she didn't believe him that it would ever go that far. I mean, at this time, and there's no lights, it got dark, and they ran out of balls, in fact. So they went to the party. Next day they go out at 35 all, and my dad's doubles partner, Dick Dell, lost his serve. So they get down 36-35, and they lost the first set 6-3. Yeah. So that's 70 games.
Oh my God!
Without breaking serve, if the grass was so bad or their returns were so bad, I don't know. I mean, I had played Davis Cup in Newport. The grass is not great. It's better now.
Okay.
But anyway, they proceeded to break back, and they ended up winning that second set 49-47.
Wow.
And then they won 22-20 in the third. And so as a kid, my dad was in the Guinness Book of World Records. So when I go to school, like show and tell, I'd be like, "Hey, my dad's right here, in the Guinness Book of World Records." So
that's good.
To me, I think that's one of my favorite tennis stories.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
So last question for you. How do we make doubles more popular?
That's a great question. It's sad that the Bryan brothers are gone because they were great ambassadors for the game.
Yeah.
I think... it's great that the ATP condensed it down to 2 sets and a breaker because it encourages more players to play. You look at this tournament, for example, Indian Wells, you got Rafa playing, you got Roger playing with Stan. And if we can just get those big names playing, I think it helps a lot. I don't think doubles is ever going to go away because it's a different skill set. Mm-hmm. And, it's always going to be there. It's just a different skill set, and we got to keep it going because it's such a huge part of the game. And, personally, if it wasn't for doubles, I wouldn't have been able to play very long, and I wouldn't have won any major titles. So, I'm a big fan of doubles too.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can keep it around and make it even more popular than it already is.
I hope so.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Rick, for coming on. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
If you're a doubles player, you'll love our weekly doubles newsletter. Every Thursday, we send you doubles tips and strategies to help you improve your game and become a smarter player. When you sign up, you'll get a free 10-page guide on how to play with more confidence and dominate at the net in doubles. You can go to thetennistribe.com to sign up now.